Welcome back to the channel. We're playing 20 questions with.
Luke from Papa J Woodworks.
All right, let's get into the questions. When I say fountain pen, what pen do you think of?
So this is the pen I think of. This was a gift from one of my mentors, Scott at TriStar Studios. He's the one that got me into fountain pens, and he actually, on top of helping me out with everything as far as tooling, he sent me this pen as a reference, as a gift to use, but also as a reference for how to kind of model my first fountain pen after it. So this would be the pen.
Oh, that's super cool. How did you get into pens?
So I got into pens by making them actually. So my uncle got me into kit pens. I made those for about a year and felt myself limited by what was available as far as component pens are concerned. You kind of pick a piece of material and you pick a component kit and you put them together. So I found myself limited in creativity and happened to run across again Scott at TriStar, and he introduced me to the fountain pen world. So that's kind of how I got my start with fountain pens, was with that pen that I showed you and my introduction to him.
All right. So your first pen was the one from Scott. What was your other first pen, sort of?
My other first pen, let me go to my trusty pen cup. Oh, sorry, it's right over here. So my other first pen
Yep.
then would have been my first somewhat functioning, not perfectly functioning, but the first pen that I made, and I used this for a little bit. So this was kind of my first. I'd say it's 90% successful. I blew the threads out for the nib in here, but as long as you hold it this way, it works just fine. So this was my other first pen.
All right. What's your current daily driver?
My current daily driver is this cool little ghost pen by Mad Science. So
Okay.
it's a pocket pen, and as you can see, he's got these cool little the organic shaping he did on the lid to make it look like a sheet, like a ghost. And it posts, and the hooded nib is so comfortable, and just his design, super comfortable. It's a great little pen. It glows in the dark, and the finish on it is absolutely fantastic. So this is the one I use every day.
What's your favorite ink currently?
So right now, I really love Amarillo Stationery Azul Frida is what I use to write all my customer thank yous.
What's your favorite brand of either pens or ink?
So I don't have a single favorite brand, and I'm more into the maker community, I would say. But some of my favorites are White Bear pens. I love her color choices and all the sparkles. I love the organic shaping on like the Mayfair pens and the Mad Science pens, and I really love what Hello Tello Studio is doing with the mosaic finials, and that was actually the part of the inspiration anyway for what we do with my lighting's messing it up, but with our floral finial models. So we put dried flowers in the florals of some of our models, and that was it was a mashup between resin jewelry artists and what John was doing over there. That kind of inspired that idea for us.
There are lots of cool things going on in the maker world currently with pens.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's a great community to be a part of.
It's a great community to be on the outside of and just sort of get to watch because I get to do these sit downs with so many of you that I sort of get like little sneak peeks of what people are working on,
Yep,
um, which is always fun. Vintage
yep.
or modern?
I'm going to say modern just because I'm so new to the community. I'm only about a year old, so I haven't had a lot of time under my belt, right? So that's kind of where I dove in, was modern maker pens. And then I picked up, some of the more commercially available cheaper pens earlier on to kind of check those out.
All right. Do you swatch all your inks?
No, they're sitting in a box over on top of my little organizer. So I'm pretty pragmatic about my ink use. My customers get more of my ink than I do. but I haven't swatched any of them outside of the ones that I've inked up in my own pens.
Okay. Do any pens always get the same ink or do you always switch it up?
I don't go through a ton of ink because, again, I'm writing customer notes with them pretty much. So I've inked up probably 4 or 5 pens, and I just rotate between using those while mostly right now writing with that ghost pen that I showed you.
It's a super cool pen.
I love that pen. It's so fun.
And I know why it can't have like little eye cutouts, but I sort of feel like it needs like the Charlie Brown eye cutouts.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure he could figure it out. He's a fantastic designer.
like then you deal with like the nib drying out.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
It would be so much fun.
Yeah, it would be super fun.
Do you have writing samples for your nibs that you keep, or do you just know the nib in every pen?
I kind of know, again, I'm not like some of my customers have huge, like 50 or 60 pens inked up at a time. I know what I have inked up because it's only 5 or 6, right? And uh, all but 2 or 3 of them are commercial pens. So yeah, I don't have swatches of what I have written out or anything like that.
All right. What's the pen you wish you could see in person?
Um, Anything, I've really been enjoying Sophia at Irushi Notes. Like anything she does just freaking blows my mind. She did what was it? It was Lily of the Valley. It was like Lily of the Valley and a moon, and then she did another one with sakura blossoms and birds. Um, and those just freaking blow my mind as somebody who like makes stuff to see and kind of I don't understand exactly what she's doing, but it's mind blowing to see the results she's getting on those pens.
Yeah, I love watching her stories.
Yes. Yeah, I saw one this morning. I was like, it's like every time I see something, I'm like, whoa, what is that? Yeah, it's really fantastic stuff.
Someday.
Yeah.
What's your current grail?
So I don't have like a single grail, but next up on my list are like an Ophelia by Black Robin,
Yep.
um, something by Mayfair. I vary between his models, but every drop I'm always hawking what he's got going on, and something by Hello Tello for sure. That's on my short list of stuff to get.
I like currently Mayfair's got one with Tori from Stationary Universe.
Yeah, that golden. It's like golden white. I think the section of it's kind of a gold color. Yeah, yeah, that's
The
really
entire
cool.
thing is sparkly and it's so
Yeah, all of the sparkles.
all the sparkles. What's the pen you'd recommend for a beginner?
Um, when I was a beginner, the ones I went for was speaking of Stationary Universe. I stopped by
Mhm.
Tori's table in Chicago, and I grabbed Lamy Safari, I think, uh, a Pilot Kakuno, and I got a Kaveco Sport from her, and then I ordered a Twisby Eco piston filler off of Amazon. And
Okay.
those were like the 4 that I picked up, kind of to just get my feet under me. I feel like they were super accessible price wise. And they wrote well out of the box. Every single one of them did. So I was pretty impressed with those.
What ink would you recommend to a beginner?
Uh, I've not ventured very far outside of like Diamine, but the reason I did that again is because being newer to the community, I'm trying to provide ink samples to all my customers. So those are very affordable, and I've found that the ones I have used, they're very vibrant and they work well. So I feel like Diamine is probably one of the more accessible brands where you could kind of build a collection um, of different colors for a fair price.
What advice do you have for somebody wanting to try out fountain pens who might be a bit intimidated by them?
So I would say just like I would really lean into the community. So that's one of the things that I did was I decided not to be an outsider, and I really started interacting with the community. I have a unique perspective, I think, maybe from other users because I'm a maker and I didn't have I didn't come into making them because I loved pens. It was kind of the opposite, right? I started to enjoy them when I started making them. But both customers, like fountain pen users have been a great source of knowledge, as well as the makers. But really just asking questions, becoming part of the community. Don't be an outsider. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And I think following, listening to podcasts is very helpful too, as far as discovering just base knowledge level. Hearing people that know about them talk about them is extremely helpful.
Yeah, I would say I spend a lot of time talking about pens with people. I also spend a lot of time listening to other people's shows.
Yeah.
Both like the shows, I think it's As the Pen Turns,
Yep.
and then like Applebaum's podcast. There's a
Yep.
big range of the
Yeah. And Gourmet Pens is another one that I listen to a lot.
Aziza puts out several great shows. Like
Yep. Yeah. And I join her lives as well to watch her inky splotches and whatnot.
I think I saw you in the chat a couple days ago.
Yeah. Probably saying something dumb.
What filling mechanism do you think is most interesting, regardless of if you actually like to use it or not?
Uh, Whenever there's a reel of a vac filler, I can't scroll past it. So that's really like very interesting to me to watch how the vac fillers work.
I believe it was Tori that referred to it as pen porn.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It was backwards in my head. I figured like when I first started watching, it's like, oh, vac, you suck it up, and it's no, when it goes down. That I was like, what is happening?
the
But
first
yeah, I love watching those videos.
the first time I saw a demonstrator vac filler in person was so cool because it was like, oh, I sort of understand how this works, but I really don't understand how this works.
Yeah, yeah. I need to find one because I've only seen videos of them. I don't actually own one, and I've never seen it in person. But quite
Naviler
fun.
makes one for about $55.
Who's that?
Naviler,
Okay.
their original plus is a vac filler, and it's I think
Okay.
$55 US. It is
Alrighty.
the least expensive vac on the market. Um, what nib size do you prefer to write with?
I like broad. Um, and I have probably 60 nibs down in the shop. I'm going to go grab a double broad and see if I'd like that. Um, so I just find like with my writing style, it's block all uppercase. It
Yep.
just kind of looks nicer with, the fatter line.
Yeah, double broads are fun. I have my double broad inked up with a shimmer ink so that it really pops. Is there a style of nib you love or find interesting but would never actually use?
Some of the ones I purchased and like my first pen that actually worked that I used, I put a fine in it. I don't think I'm an extra fine or a fine person. It just doesn't really match my writing style and it looks kind of scratchy. So I would say I'm more on the broad, double broad end of the spectrum there.
Fair enough. Do you always use the same paper? If so, what paper? If not, what paper's your favorite?
So I use a Rhodia dot pad, like the smaller note size, and that's pretty much all I use to scrawl notes and write thank yous and stuff like that to customers. So I will be venturing outside of that once my two dot pads run out.
All right. What is your least favorite ink or ink color family?
Black. It's like how I've written with a black ballpoint my entire life, and like once you kind of realize you can use any color you want, I just probably won't ink up black ever again,
Yeah.
personally.
The only black I own is waterproof.
Yeah.
Black ink serves one purpose, and it's being a waterproof ink.
Okay. Yeah, I have like some shimmers that I include now and again with a customer order, like I think it's Diamine Shimmer Midnight Sky, maybe. I would try that because it has shimmer, but just a plain old black ink, I probably wouldn't. wouldn't look at.
That's totally fair. Well, thanks for playing 20 questions.
Thank you.